Look at this view. Look at this view. Look at this view. Look at this view. Pure, beautiful mountain view. Excuse me. A pure, beautiful view. I stayed over by that park for a little bit. Tried to sleep for a little bit. I was over by that park for a lady named, well, it's rude to say somebody's name probably. Or I don't know if it is or not. Well, yeah, because if I know their last name, that might be kind of... Okay. I was over at the park area for hours to put my powers into that area for a really amazing lady. Her name starts with an Ek. Somebody's possessing me. What's an Ek? No, we like the last one. I got possessed by a god, and the god was trying to say that everybody's like a treasure, where X marks the spot because good people are such a treasure. What's an Ek? Okay, they're not answering. I don't know. I guess thinkers say my queen, my queen, my queen to find out what an Ek is. Somebody possessed me and said Ek, and I'll say whatever comes through when I'm possessed, because I just don't know if it's an important god with an important message or something. So I'll just splur or splat out whatever somebody's possessing me to say, because you don't know if it's like a 911 message from a god or an angel or something. So I just say it. So something about egg. I don't know. I guess we can all find out from the gods what that was about. But at that park in Thousand Palms, where I slept and hung out there for hours while it was raining, and it was nice during the rain. It was a nice little park to be at when it's raining. It was a pretty little atmosphere. There's a lady, and her name is, well, her first name starts with an L, and her last name starts with an A. So her first name starts with an L, last name starts with an A. She has like a government type of job. However you hash that out, I don't know. But she's a very beautiful, strong lady that likes to make a really good difference. So she's like a lot of amazing, monumental people. She really wants her life to make a difference throughout her life. That's pretty cool. Lots of people never even think twice about what that would even mean. So I want to put my powers out for her. There's also a family that's struggling pretty bad, so I want to put my powers out for that. And so now I'm over here by Thousand Palms, and I'm in the middle of nowhere because I just want to benefit the businesses in the area. So there's a lot of really spiritual, beautiful businesses in this area. So I don't know if you guys know that, but by Roy's, Roy's is like a homeless shelter. By Roy's are a lot of massive spiritual God type people. So a lot of these businesses right by Roy's love God, and it's a real love for God, not a weird fake go to church, talk shit, be a weird gross thing like everywhere kind of people. They're actual spiritual people and owners that actually want to walk with gods that are real and have a real future with gods that are real. So they're actually real goodness and real love of God type spirituality people. And they're in this area, in these businesses right here. See, this is a business building. And that's this building. Sorry, a car's passing by. This building is a pretty spiritual, powerful spiritual. Like the person that owns this building is very strong. The person that owns this building is a very spiritually strong type of individual. And I would call that powerful. Because when you're spiritually so good and so strong, you bring the power of God and goodness really strong and powerful. So like that's what I'd call it. Then right here, see this building right here? It's like a brown building in between a white building and a tan building. This brown building right here is pretty substantial spiritual good stuff. So this has some substantial spiritual good stuff. And then, of course, you have this building right here. Once again, pretty substantial, amazing, beautiful, spiritual stuff connected to that. And then Roy's is, you know, the one that helps the home. So the Roy's building helps the homeless. So I knew I would benefit that area too. But what was really cool is a lot of the people that are homeless that live at Roy's are walking back and forth to go to the store and get something at the store. So a lot of these Roy's people are walking to the AM PM or the little shops or the little liquor store over here to get some food or a drink. And it's really fun because they're passing right by the power of God in a time where they have, like, where they could use the power of God to live some kind of amazing life instead of being at the homeless shelter. So hopefully they're worthy of the miracle. Hopefully they're worthy and can absorb the power of God and have some kind of good future or good benefit from it. So I just want to show you guys that it's a pretty fun, amazing place. And the views, the mountains, look at the mountains. Just a real beautiful view of mountains and pretty things out here. This is a very beautiful area. It's a very nice, neat area. Very, very nice. And you can park in the middle of nowhere, and it's great. I mean, a car drives by here and there, but you can mostly have time to talk to gods, talk to angels, sit and chit chat, or just be yourself, and not have the whole world fixate on the fact that you're in the area like they normally do. So it's pretty nice. I might use this as a hideaway spot until I hopefully get back to work. And I'm gonna say it again. I am really, really grateful. Really, really grateful. I called places and I couldn't afford anything. I barely had any money. So I was working for Lyft and barely had any money. I already couldn't pay my bills. I already had to leave my home and trailer because I couldn't pay the bill. And then I get a crack on the windshield. The company just drops you and you can't go to work and have any money. And I only had whatever money I had. It was horrifying. It was absolutely horrifying. And so I'm holding on to the stupid, small, nothing amount of money I have. A bunch of windshield places I just couldn't afford. And I knew I'd probably end up homeless without the car or something. And just have to say I didn't make it. And the United States and Dubai won. And the only justice and revenge I get comes from the power of God. And that's the way life goes. But And that's not to say United States and Dubai won't pay. You know, they did it all in the first place. You know, but they would pay more unimaginably if I, ultimately lose everything, which is a fun thing when you think about the consequences of their actions against my death. Their drop kicking of dead God abuse and how much they actually deserve, far more than every punishment you can think of for abusing the death of God. But, we'll put that in the courts of gods, like always. And gods will go to court and judge that. But this company, the price they gave me, I could afford. The price that this company gave me, I could afford. I don't remember the name of the company, but as soon as I get my windshield, I'm going to brag that every windshield company was expensive and horrifying, but this windshield company I could afford. So if you're a poor person in desperate need of a windshield to get back to work at Lyft or something, this was a really big blessing company, because it was barely the money that I had, minus a couple bucks to survive all these days until they can put it on Monday. So I'm going to be really, really grateful and post about it. And I want to thank a company that saves the poor and helps the weak and defenseless. Because I'm pretty sure they could charge a big amount like everybody else would. I'm pretty positive they could charge a big amount. Everybody else did. So I gotta put my power of God into the person and the company to say thank you in a big, real way. But I also got to post about a company that nice that that helps people, because it is a big deal. But I also was reminded that I have gotten a windshield on a different car. I got a bad crack on another car I had. When I had a different car and I got a crack, some guy in Desert Hot Springs went right to the trailer park and replaced the windshield for such a cheap, amazing price. It was the biggest miracle, because I was so terrified about how much it might cost. And back then, I didn't have any idea how much a windshield would ever cost any which way. So in Desert Hot Springs, there's a really nice Hispanic man, and windshields are unimaginably inexpensive. This guy is Cathedral City, and he's not unimaginably inexpensive. The other guy is Hispanic and maybe has like a tow yard or tow lot or find some really inexpensive way to get windshields or something. So I wanted to bring him up. He's Hispanic. He only works in the Desert Hot Springs area, and he was so cheap. It was so cheap and such a blessing back then, because I had gotten a crack in the windshield. Now, nobody made me not have work, or nobody took work and the right to live or have money and eat away from me, but I had gotten a crack in the windshield, and the crack was getting pretty bad, so I knew I needed to replace it to be able to like have a car and drive around and stuff. So that was kind of a really big, massive blessing. I was so grateful to get that windshield back then. Now, of course, this windshield was more expensive, but it's a normal individual that's still willing to be that wonderful to people who need a miracle to get to work. So that's worth telling the whole world about. In fact, I would use the powers of God to send everybody to him first, even if they could afford a better, bigger, more expensive windshield, because people like that deserve everything. This reminds me of teaching you something. When you give God the best of your paycheck, you should expect that God's going to give you the best of something, right? When you give God half-ass whatever, you should expect you're going to get half-ass whatever, right? That guy is giving me, a dead God, a blessed, perfect miracle moment I need more than anything. I really need to make sure that his family, his life, his company understand that, right? So now that he did something beautiful and nice for me, as a dead God, I need to use my powers to help him to understand how much somebody like him is such a big miracle to existence, and even to a dead God. And how often are you a miracle to a dead God? And so if you put a stupid offering to God, you get a stupid answer, right? If you give the best of yourself to God, you get the best answer. What happens if you do something for Jesus as he's dying on the cross? What do you think you'd get if you're going to help Jesus? Dead, dying. Pretty big gratitude. So, I mean, is he helping me because I'm a God? No. Is he helping me because I'm poor? No. But is he just a man with a company who deserves a blessing from God for being a blessing to others in general? Yes. So will he make bank? Will he get the power of God like Mr. Amazon till it's sickeningly wealthy? Probably not, but it's time for me to think about how the power of God needs to thank him appropriately. So the human puts the offering at the throne of God, and then it's God's job to prove the answer to that offering. And this is where I thought I'd bring it up a lot, to remind you guys to think or say, my queen, my queen, my queen. Think or say, my queen, my queen, my queen. Talk to the gods about what kind of offering would be like the best offering. Put the offering at the throne of God, the statue of God, whatever these gods teach you to do. So make the best offering they teach you. Put it where they teach you. And then have them prove the answer. that you deserve based on your offering. And that's how you learn how the olden days worked. So in the olden days, they gave like 1/10 of their farm. And if they gave the best of their farming, they got a beautiful, miraculous year all year. And then if they gave a crappy offering, they got a crappy farming experience all year. Because what you put into God is what you're going to get back. You wouldn't want to put anything bad because you don't get nothing good. And don't think that God is stupid. Back in the days of Cain and Abel, do you remember the story of Cain and Abel? One of those children was a murderer, a sickening, gross murderer. Well, that sickening, gross murderer tried to give God a fuck you offering. You never want to be him. Just never want to be him. Ever. It's just never. So, kind of the way I tell you, don't be the 666. Don't ever go in those directions. Don't even understand what those people are. Never, ever, ever give a bad offering to a God. If you don't want to give the best offering to a God, just don't give him nothing. Or pick up one of those little frogs, those little frog statues. A lot of giants, very powerful giants, just want you to put like a penny on Monday and a dime on Tuesday. Or those little frog statues, you don't have to do much. You don't get much, but you don't have to do much. So try those things. And I'm still going to tell you guys what happens if I ever get $1 because I'm a dead God. So if they ever give me $1 in worship because I'm a dead God, if they ever worship me as a dead God and give me $1, I'm going to tell you. Because that's going to be the biggest moment of, well, wow, what happens? So I'll let you guys know.